So this is a new MCHOSE A68 Turbo, marketed as the first 16K Hall effect keyboard. I just want to say, I'm genuinely impressed with the quality shown here. A quick disclaimer, this keyboard was sent to me by MCHOSE, but as always, all thoughts and opinions are of my own. I'm not paid in any way to say anything positive. So to begin with the unboxing experience, the packaging is quite nice. The box art is simple but tastefully done. If you open up the packaging, inside you'll find a keyboard, a dust cover on it, a USB-C cable, a key puller, and you should have around 2 spare switches. So this keyboard is definitely a huge step up for MCHOSE, especially compared to the earlier releases. The older models were budget friendly and often felt cheap in hand. This one takes a very different approach. It comes in a full aluminum case, which instantly gave it a much more premium feel compared to the plastic cases they had previously. It's also noticeably heavier, around 1.3 kg, and that extra weight removes the hollow feeling, makes the board feel a bit more solid and substantial. In terms of appearance, I really like the black colorway offered here. A mix of grey and blue keycaps complement it nicely, and overall, the whole design comes together well. They also have a few other colorways, including white, orange, pink, and berry red. Keycaps are cherry profile, and depending on the colorway you choose, they can be shine through. The black set I have here isn't, but for example, the pink version is. On the left side, there's a volume wheel, and just below that, there's a physical button that lets you switch between 3 keyboard profiles. Both of these features are genuinely convenient, whether you're adjusting your volume on the fly or swapping to a specific profile for a certain game. There's also a light bar at the front of the keyboard. It's a nice addition, but I do have one small issue with it. The light does spill into the top row of keys, illuminating them slightly. So if you want a different color on your switches and your light bar, you might notice some light bleed between the two. Additionally, the RGB on the switches are south facing, so even with non-shine free keycaps, the lighting still looks good. As for the typing experience, the keyboard felt great. I'm using the Mount Time magnetic switch version. I describe the sound as more on the clacky side. My only minor complaint is the spacebar. It feels slightly hollower compared to the rest of the keys. I'll include a sound test near the end of the video with timestamps for anyone who wants to hear it. Opening up the keyboard, you can see there's quite a few layers designed to make the keyboard feel dense. Most notably, there's an aluminum plate which gives the keyboard a slightly softer, higher pitched metallic feel. On top of that, there are several layers of foam sandwiched in the PCB. You can also spot the south facing RGB LEDs I mentioned earlier on the PCB itself. Overall, the keyboard is packed with layers that help the acoustics, and I think it does a great job for the most part. Before we get into the software itself, if you do want to use the keyboard in its full 16K polling rate mode, you will need to use the included 3.0 cable and plug it into a USB 3.0 port. If you don't do this, the software will give you an error and cap the keyboard at 8K polling. You also do need to download a separate driver, which will be prompted when you do plug the keyboard in using a USB 3.0 cable. It does look a bit sketchy, and I did test it for viruses using VirusTotal myself, and it came out clean. But just be aware with these things. And for those of you struggling with the drive download, what you need to do is when prompted to download the drivers on the MCHOSE hub, is you will need to download it, extract the files using 7-zip or WinRAR, rename the .exe inside, then move the exe outside the folder. After that, it should work, and the correct window should pop up, enabling you to download the drivers. Now moving on, I've talked about the MCHOSE Hub software before. It's a web-based driver, so there's nothing to download. And since my last video, it's had a few improvements. The UI has been cleaned up, and there's been some quality of life upgrades. That makes it a bit easier to navigate. Overall, it's still quite basic, but that's not really an issue for me since I'm a one and done type of person. Once I set everything up, I usually don't touch the software again anyways. So let's just go over a few settings that you can change. So you have your lighting effects, your backlight, and in the light box. Pretty simple stuff. There's a couple presets there that you can use here. Your trigger settings, so you can have your individual key setup, or you could use a global. If you do want the 0.01 millimeter actuation, you do have to set berserk mode on, and then you can go all the way down to 0.01. You've got key remapping, it's remapping your keys, your FN layers. Advanced key, so this is like rapid snap here and SOCD, so I have SOCD set up here myself. The performance area, so this is your sleep timer, your polling rate, so we're on 16K right now. A few other things. And then the other section where you can just update your keyboard's firmware. You can also have your other profiles here, so your first, second, and third. So if I click the physical button on the keyboard, you'll see it switch. As you see, it switches and then go back. So what you have here is pretty basic, but it all works, does the job. I personally say it once and be done with it anyways. The main selling point of this keyboard, aside from the premium build quality, is that it's apparently the first keyboard to offer a 16K polling rate. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm not really the target audience for this kind of thing. Whether it's 1K, 4K, 8K, or even 16K, I personally don't feel a significant difference in actual gameplay. MCHOSE claimed the keyboard has a 0.06 millisecond response time and a 0.0001mm actuation point, tested in their own labs, so take these numbers with a pinch of salt before other testers have confirmed them. So, I can't verify those numbers myself, but speaking purely from in-game use, the keyboard performed great. It fell on par with other Hall effect boards I own, whether that's the Wooten 60, the Newfire Air 60, or even the MCHOSE A60. I couldn't tell any difference between them. It didn't feel worse, it didn't feel out of place. It just kept up fine. All in all, the MCHOSE A68 Turbo is a solid keyboard that really delivers on both build quality and performance. From the premium aluminum case and thoughtful acoustics to the software and 16K polling rate, a lot of care went into this board, and at a price point of $139, I think it's a very reasonable deal for what you're getting. Especially when you factor in competitors like Wooting, charging around £170 for a plastic board. Overall, if you're looking for a well-built Hall effect board, this keyboard doesn't disappoint. And if you're interested in picking one up, you can use my code Sylvester for a discount. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.